Alright everybody, how we doing today? So today we finish off strong with an economics story. As I grew my hair because I obsessive with my hair. Alright, so here we go. From Reason, Free Minds and Free Markets. This is from John Stossel. It says, minimum wage hurts beginners. Excuse me again. How Seattle's a $15 minimum wage killed entry-level jobs. So Seattle was the first big city to pass the $15 minimum wage. People there were excited. I think it's pretty awesome, since I benefit from it. One told us, another added, I wish it was all over the place and not just Seattle. Now, 5 years after the law passed, the evidence is in. While some workers did earn more entry-level jobs, it decreased. The politicians never mentioned that when they passed the bill, says Aaron Shannon of the Washington Policy Center, it's really presented by minimum wage advocates as a win-win for employers, a win-win for workers. She pointed to us a factory that moved hundreds of jobs out of state and to a shore that stopped hiring beginners because of the $15 minimum wage. The politicians in Seattle especially have no sense whatsoever about what it means to small business like us, the owner of Retrofit Home tells us. And minimum wage hurts young people who need a first job, say 3 young people who won a contest organized by Stossel in the classroom, which provides free videos and lesson plans about free markets to teachers. Dylan Hodes won the high school level video contest. He says a friend who worked at Kroger saw her hours cut at the store implemented a $12 minimum wage. Raising the minimum wage caused increased unemployment, explains Rigel Noble Rosa, the college level contest winner. Stossel says he learned things from Noble Koza's video, which noted that Iceland, Norway, Sweden, and Switzerland have no national minimum wage. And the reason why minimum wage is such a problem is because not everyone can afford to pay it. A higher minimum wage automatically means fewer workers because your budget only allows you to pay so much to individual employees. You're literally stretching them thin. Higher minimum wage does not mean more. In fact, it often means less. But this is such a simple concept is frequently overlooked. And in order to save money, what kills even more jobs is that in order to save money, they just move their money offshore or get employment from someplace else. Oh, but you didn't think about that one, did you, Mr. Politician? No, of course not. Because you guys have got your heads so far up your asses you can't see a damn thing. The minimum wage stops us from actually getting a job, says Esther Rhodes, who won the high school essay contest. She points out the earliest advocates of the minimum wage wanted to price black Americans out of the market. Oh, there you go. If that history is accurate. I've heard that one before, but I don't know how much actual validity that statement honestly has, but I've heard it many times. I'll have to look into that one more. About 100 years ago, blacks were often paid less, but they were more likely to be employed than whites. Representative Myle Clayton, Allgood, said he hoped the minimum wage would stop cheap colored labor in competition with white labor. It was meant to keep the poor and minorities from getting jobs, Esther tells Stossel. The minimum wage also harms young people. Esther explains, I'm 14. It'd be very difficult for me to find a job. My labor wouldn't be worth $15 an hour. If only politicians were as smart as those kids, Stossel says. Yeah, no, a lot of the time it is true that school children are much more intelligent than politicians, and that should frighten you. That should frighten you greatly. A lot of the time it's really just because these people live in their big, rich ivory towers and have no understanding of the lower or working class. They understand the middle class even less. And technically they're not even classes, they're income brackets. But within those income brackets does come a certain culture and identity, which again, these upper income bracket people just don't understand because they never had to experience it because they inherited their wealth from their parents or grandparents, which is fine. It's fine that they did that. It's their money. They can give it to their kids if they want to. But don't pretend that that money means that you have an understanding of what it's like for the rest of us. Because no, you don't. No, you do not. You're an idiot. But do these people learn their lesson? Of course not. They should always learn. They should start hiring financial experts and always to defer to them on everything. That would go a long way for fixing these problems. Needless to say, I think the message is clear. Stop raising the minimum wage. In fact, you know what? We probably don't even need one. And if it is indeed true that in the past it was in fact a racist measure, then that makes an even greater precedent for it to no longer be there. Because you can't just repurpose something for something else and act like it's going to continue, like it's not going to continue to be in favor of one group over another. You can't just take a racist policy and reuse it, reconvert it for your own purposes, and then pretend that it's not going to continue to have a racial impact. That's absurd. Anyway, see ya.